I want to go over with you a little bit about what I look for in analyzing a deal, and kind of what some of the metrics look like on each project, because whether it's a single family home or a multifamily apartment complex or a mixed use like retail, office, and residential, all of our metrics stay the same. So we want to be all in at 60% of market value. Sometimes we'll end up at 65% or 55%. And so the main thing is we never pay retail. We want to gain equity at purchase. We want to force equity in a remodel, and then we're forcing cash flow by raising rents and making the property more durable to tenants. You know, we don't use carpet or anything like that we're going to have to replace every time they turn around. So there's several different ways we make money on that, whether it be the cash flow, the equity, or cashing out our equity to buy more projects. So if we're all in at 60% of market value, we can take it to like Freddie Mac on a big apartment complex, and they'll give us a 30-year mortgage at maybe 4% interest when we refinance it, so we can cash out up to 75 or 80%. So if we call it 80% on $1 million project, and we're only in at 600,000, that'll allow us to cash out 200,000 to 300,000, and I'm going to show you how. Okay guys, in our last video we showed you the Candlewood project. It's a 20-unit apartment complex in Pittsburgh, Kansas. We paid $537,000 for it. Came with a John Deere skid steer worth about $30,000. We did a $50,000 remodel on that project. So we were all in at $587,000. That's not including insurance, taxes, any of that. That's part of our net operating income, and we'll go over that in a minute. So this is our total cost to purchase and rehab this facility. It was $587,000. So when we went in, we had to put $106,000 down to purchase that, leaving our mortgage at $431,000. And then our line of credit for the remodel, we pulled out $105,000. We were able to do that because the project appraised for $700,000 as we purchased it. So we gained roughly $163,000 just in signing the paperwork and equity. With that $105,000 line of credit, we only used $50,000 of it for the remodel, just because of us buying in bulk, completing the remodels ourselves, saved us a ton of money on that. So we took that extra $56,000 and put it towards another project to purchase. It was actually our truck stop in JASPER that we used some of those funds on. So once we were finished with this project, we refinanced it. The bank that we were using for it just turned in to be a joke, and we couldn't get anything done with them. So they cashed out up to $730,000. It wasn't quite 80%, but we didn't really need the extra funding at the time. So they did $730,000 at about $5,000 a month. I don't have my mortgage papers up here with me at the moment, but it's around $60,000 a year in payments, and that asset produces about $91,000 a year net operating income. So leaves us with about $31,000 in cash flow after the project's over. Not only did we gain $30,000 in cash flow off of this one, that also put $250,000 in cash in our pocket to do more projects. That $200,000 came from cash out, and then the other $50,000 was from our original purchase and remodel. We were able to use those funds since we came in under budget to purchase more stuff. So at a $730,000 mortgage and a $970,000 appraised value, that still left us $240,000 in equity still sitting in that project, and able to use $250,000 of it on current projects. So you can see why this model works. You know, if we can go in at 65% of market value on every single project, why would we not continue buying more? Since this project was a multifamily project, it's all the numbers are based off of income. So the more profitable we make the asset, the more it's worth. And so that's where our systems come in. We lowered the operating costs on maintenance. Management costs are much lower with us doing it in-house. That doesn't really raise the value for appraised value wise, just because they appraise it based off of the average maintenance and management costs. But for us in-house, it adds our adds value to our total portfolio because our cash flow goes up just off of owning them. Since our management's Swaden and Tori and Colton and I that do all of it, we have very low input costs on managing these properties. So now looking at it as if it's a single family home, if it's a $100,000 single family home, we need to be all in at 65% of market value. So I need to be able to, buy that property at $50,000, be able to only put $15,000 into it to make it worth $100,000 for our model to work. Now that comes from us being able to buy our flooring much cheaper than anybody else, and just having the system. So when our guys go in, they know we're using agreeable gray paint. You're going to hear me say this tons of times. Agreeable gray paint, Dovetail paint on the cabinets, bright white on the trim, the same luxury vinyl flooring in every apartment, the same cabinet knobs, light fixtures, everything's the same. So you don't lose a lot of time in employees wondering what to do next or what I'm wanting to do. Our backsplashes are the same, our countertops are the same. So if you take that and scale it, if you only save $200 or $300 a door on 10 doors, that's not very much. But if you can save $200 or $300 a door on 1,000 doors, that's a lot in the end. So anytime we can find a point to save money, we obviously do. I'm going to break down the expenses and the income for you. So our gross rents, forfeited deposits, pet fees, and laundry income came out to be $116,578. And now our expenses were repairs, utilities, taxes, and insurance. Our management is all already paid by the rest of our assets. We don't really include them in these because it's a very small portion of our expenses. But our repairs were $5,104 for the year. Utilities were $4,274. Taxes were $9,982. And insurance is about $5,500. So that comes out to be $91,719 in total income for the year. And now those are all rounded. There's not any cents involved. But when we first took that project over, it was only about 50 to 55% occupied. Maintenance was high from carpet and kind of trying to take it to market rent. So it just wasn't a very well-performing asset. It was very distressed when we bought it, and that's what we look for, is stuff that's struggling that we can take to market value. And by doing this, I really feel like, to us, this project's probably a $1.1 million, maybe a little higher value to us. Can we sell it for that? I don't know. It doesn't really matter because we never plan on selling any of these. We want to buy them and hold them forever because they're going to double in value over the next 25 or 30 years. So. Okay guys, I kind of went over with you this apartment deal and kind of how we look at a house deal. I'm going to go more in depth on the house purchasing and what we look for in another video, so stay tuned for it. Probably our next video is going to go over why we use leverage versus all cash. If I can own 100 properties free and clear or 1,000 properties with leverage, which one actually works out better even if you're using the same amount of cash. But you'll see if we can have everything at 65% of market value, I'm going to show you how that really escalates our ability to purchase and adds to our net worth very quickly. So if you can, subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.